The Home Mortgage Law Show is a paid program and is intended as a resource guide for education, information, and entertainment purposes and is not intended to provide specific legal advice. The information that you hear should not be used as a substitute for competent legal advice from a professional attorney. Hiring of an attorney is an important decision which should not be based on advertising or the information that you hear today.
Listening to the Home Mortgage Law Show, brought to you by the law offices of Morris DuPont. Attorneys Will Morris and Shay DuPont here for you. We're with you every Saturday afternoon from 2 until 4 on News Talk 610, 100.3 WIOD, and News Radio 970 WFLA. The number is the same if you want to talk to the experts. Toll free, call the show, 866-610-NEWS. That's 866-610-6397. AT&T Wireless customer star 610.
And over the break, I saw Natalie updating our Facebook page. What was that? What is that Facebook page?
It is the Home Mortgage Law Show, sponsored by Morris DuPont, PA. And you can link to us on Facebook and also on our Twitter account. It's Morris DuPont, PA. And I put the new information for the new offices for Morris DuPont.
Which we finally figured out what that was.
That's right.
I was right.
You were right.
It's a new facility in Doral. State of the art. Come by and say hi to the experts. It's 1200 Northwest 78th Avenue, Doral. And you can enter into your GPS 33126.
That's right. And of course, we have other offices. We've got the Aventura office, Dadeland, Fort Lauderdale, Plantation, Boca Raton, West Palm Beach. Let's not forget Tampa and St. Petersburg. I was in the Tampa office just this past Friday, met with some wonderful people and had a mediation in Tampa over there on McDill. It was very fruitful mediation. Yeah, went very well. Very happy. Talked to some people. We're going to be doing some short sales on some investment properties. Folks, with these investment properties, you really need to rethink whether or not it makes sense to continue to own these properties. I've got a way for you to look at these properties to understand whether or not it makes financial sense to hold on to them or whether you should be doing a short sale. And then there's a tiered analysis on a short sale. There's 3 different types of short sales that we have identified. We have graphed them out. We're going to go over them with you. Short sale now, short sale race, or strategic short sale. Which one of those 3 types of short sales makes sense for your investment property? Well, you won't know unless you give us a call, schedule your free consultation, and I will walk you through each one of them, and we will crunch the numbers as it relates to your individual properties. What should you be doing? Should you be holding on to these properties? Does it make financial sense, or are you just basically being a property manager for your lender for the next 10 years?
Or worse than that, subsidizing the mortgage payments.
Oh, well, doesn't it kill you when you hear people saying that they actually are out of pocket every month on these properties?
Some investment property, that is.
And when they have negative equity, they're basically just renting it from the lender.
Right.
They're not making equity investment payments into these properties. And yet they're acting as a property manager and paying the lender for the privilege of doing so.
And the headaches of being a landlord.
I know. So give us a call. I'm happy to meet with you and discuss what might make sense for your investment property. We've got some calls. Let's take them.
Milton, welcome to the show.
Hi, Milton.
Milton.
Hi.
Hi.
I called just to compliment you guys.
Oh.
Excuse me. I don't have any mortgage on my house, and thank God. And but I listen to all these radio shows, and I hear these piranhas that say, "Call us and we can get you your house free. You know, we're going to get rid of your mortgage. You don't have to pay the bank anything." And you could just hear that they're really smoke and mirrors, and they're just looking to take these people in their hour of need. And these guys come and do these things. And I hear you guys talk. I mean, just the information and the humanity in your voice tells me that, you know, it's legit. So I just thought I'd call you up and compliment you.
Well, gee, thank you so much. That is very, very, very nice of you to do that.
Right? You just made my day,
Absolutely.
Milton, my week, my month, my year. That's so sweet of you to say those things. But Milton, you did bring up a really important point that people need to understand that it's very, very rare that anyone gets a free house. As Will always says, courts are courts of equity. They are really reluctant to rule against a bank that is owed hundreds of thousands of
They
dollars.
actually paid monies to buy the house.
Right.
The fact that the house is not worth that much, that's not the point. They've actually come out of pocket and paid money. And to give the person the ability to live in this house, and for a court to turn around and say, you know what, we're going to give you this house for free. You don't owe the bank anything. It's a very rare circumstance. It doesn't happen often.
And these, I was reading an article and I posted it on the Facebook page. Just last week, there was a foreclosure scam that was going on where they were
deeding the property for $100 and then renting it back to the people, or sometimes even living in the house themselves.
Yeah. So Milton, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of scams out there. There's a lot of promises being made to people that, in their hour. That's the worst part, is that these people, look, they always paid their mortgage on time. They've never had any debt. And then suddenly something happens and they can't afford the mortgage anymore. And they're really beside themselves. And then people come in and steal from them, basically.
I've actually heard of and I hate to say this, but lawyers actually telling clients or homeowners that they can get them their house for free. Look, I'm in court every single day practically, and I've seen maybe once or twice where somebody's gotten their house for free, and it's usually not because of great lawyering, but it's usually because the judge is so ticked off at the bank that they gave them the house for free. Said, you don't owe them this mortgage. The truth of the matter is, though, even though you don't have to pay this mortgage, the lien still remains. And if you wind up ever selling the house, you still have to satisfy that lien. So you still have to pay that mortgage at some point.
Tricky language people are using.
Yeah.
But Milton, do you listen to the show every week?
Well, whenever I can, usually when I'm in the car.
You're so sweet, and you don't even have a mortgage.
No, I don't. In fact, I got a reverse mortgage, so they're paying me.
Hey,
good for you.
So, and my only relationship is with you is my radio, but I just enjoy. I enjoy your Rocky segment.
Rockies, love them.
Look at this guy. He's a longtime fan. Good for you.
That's right. What Milton is referring to is we very often have clients come on the show with us and talk about their experience, what their hardship was, what led them to the law firm, and what the results we got were. Oh, I love me some Rocky segments. Let's do one next week, Milton.
Well,
Let's do a Rocky, okay? We'll do it just for you.
Okay.
All right.
It'll be dedicated to Milton next week. Thank you so much for calling, Milton. That's very, very kind of you. We greatly appreciate it, and thanks for listening to the show.
Have a nice weekend.
You too.
You too.
Norma, welcome to the show.
Hi, Norma.
Hi, how are you?
Well, after that call from Milton, I'm on
good.
cloud nine.
Yeah, sure it is.
Flattery will get you everywhere.
Well, I have a little dilemma, and I wanted to. We just, just randomly, I was looking at the station. I have to tell you the truth. I don't listen to you all the time, but I started to switching the radio stations, and I came across your show, and I thought, oh my goodness, this is incredible.
Right.
The information you were giving out. Anyway, I have a first mortgage and with Chase, and a second mortgage, which is an equity loan, which it's a second mortgage.
Right.
I modified the first one, and then they modified the second automatically.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point now, I've been paying for it now. I guess I modified it over a year ago, both of them. And I can't, the second mortgage is just killing me. And the payment, I keep on paying on the second mortgage. The value of my home is not the same, of course, as it was before. I'm a realtor, so I know what's going on.
Oh.
And I just don't know what to do. I don't know if I should keep on paying on this second mortgage. What can I do? We'll talk to them. I was thinking maybe of calling them and saying, look, I can't do this anymore. Can you refinance it?
Well, how fortuitous that you were in the car and you heard our show, because we've got to take a little break. But when we come back, I'm going to ask you some questions about the value of the mortgages and the value of the property, and I'm going to show you how to do the analysis, okay?
Okay.
So hang on with us.
You're listening to the Home Mortgage Law Show, 1-800-974-2712. 1-800-974-2712. Toll-free number. Book your free consultation. You won't regret it. The law offices of Morris DuPont, 800-974-2712. Much more of the Home Mortgage Law Show after this. You're listening to the Home Mortgage Law Show, brought to you by the law offices of Morris DuPont. Attorneys Will Morris and Shay DuPont here for you. Our phone lines are open and we're taking calls, your calls. 866-610-NEWS. That's 866-610-6397. AT&T Wireless customer star 610. And on the phone we have Norma.
And Norma called in because she has gotten loan modifications on her first mortgage, and she got what's called a 2MP, second lien modification on her second mortgage. And yet still she questions, is it a good idea to keep this property even though I've gotten a loan modification? And that's an important question, Norma, that people don't realize. And that's something that we at the law firm of Morris DuPont do with our clients. They get the trial modification, we analyze the numbers. They get the permanent modification, we look at the new interest rate, the new principal, the new term, and we show them this is the way to analyze it, whether or not it's a good enough deal for you to want to accept the loan modification or to possibly short sale the property. So let's talk some numbers, Norma.
Yeah.
On that first mortgage, what is the principal balance?
Okay, right now it's about 150,000,
And on the second?
about 71,000.
And what is the current market value of the property?
Okay, the current market value, according to the tax figures that we get, the taxable, is about 165,000.
Okay, so actually it's probably more
More than-
like
right.
another 30. It's probably about 200,000 if you look at the market. You're a realtor. You know that those
Yeah, it
those
would be
values.
about 200,000.
Okay,
Okay.
so we're talking about a property that's worth 200,000. So the first mortgage is what we called completely secured.
Yes.
There is enough equity in the property for the first mortgage to be covered if you were to do a sale. However, on the second mortgage, the value of the property is 200. The second mortgage is only covered for 50,000, so there would be another $21,000 plus because you'd have closing costs and real estate commissions and all that. So the second mortgage would not be paid dollar for dollar in a sale of the property. So the property would be sold short, but only per the second mortgage probably. So that's something to consider. Now, the question becomes, when you add up these modified payments for the first and second mortgage, what is the monthly housing expense for you to live there? That would be principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and homeowners association fee.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if that number is $2,000, adding up the two mortgage payments, because you've had them modified, you're now escrowing your taxes and your insurance as part of your first mortgage payment,
Right.
correct?
Yes.
So
So right now, in between the two of them, I'm paying about over 1,300.
okay, so do you have a homeowners association fee?
No.
Okay, so your monthly housing expense is $1,300. Now here's something important for you to know. If I wanted to rent your property, what's the current rent value?
Probably around the same thing.
Okay, so you are basically renting the property until the value of the property exceeds the value of the mortgages. And the value,
$221,000.
right, $221,000. So you're very close to LTV at 100%, loan to value being at 100%. The current market value is $200,000, and the value of the two mortgages combined is $221,000. You're paying basically the rent value there with those mortgages, but are you saying that you're finding it difficult to pay the second mortgage?
Yes.
So it's a matter of every month it's difficult to make the payment on the second.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and if I could just keep the first mortgage, it'd be okay. But with both of them, that's what's making the payments a little bit higher. But I don't think there's no way that the first mortgage, the second mortgage could be reduced.
Well,
Or that it's being the same lender that they would refinance it maybe.
Well, you could. Is it a Fannie or a Freddie loan?
It's a Fannie Mae, yeah.
Okay, so you could try to get a refinance through Fannie, but don't you think when you got it modified, you already got the best rate possible? You're probably at what, 4 to 4.25?
Yeah, I have it. Yeah. The second one it increases over a period of the first 3 years, and then the next 5 years it increases. But yeah, it is. I do have a lower rate. Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
a refinance isn't going to put you in a better position.
Right,
It's just
right.
going to give you some more closing costs.
And not only that, it's going to increase her the amount
principal?
the amount of her loans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think the refinance is the best thing. When Chase modified the second, you said that they automatically did it, correct?
Yes, they offered it to you when as soon as you got through with the first.
Right.
They offer the second one.
Exactly. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to actually come in and we'll do an analysis on whether or not you should be applying specifically for a loan modification on the second that is not the automatic one that you get.
Okay.
A custom loan modification, because I'd like to reduce some of that principal
Sure.
off of the second mortgage.
That could be remodified again?
Yeah, of course. You can modify under any of the government programs. You can do a loan modification 2 times within a 5-year period. It must be at least 12 months apart.
Okay.
All right.
So I need to come in and bring you all my documentation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'd call Chase and I'd talk to them about the second mortgage and see what programs it might qualify for, and then we'd see whether or not there's anything we can do to get that payment lowered for you.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Okay.
Where-
You
what-
have an office in Doral?
Yes, we do.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Well,
Yep,
well,
we're at 1200 Northwest 78th Avenue. We're at the corner of basically 78th Avenue and Northwest 12th Street.
Perfect.
We're right on that corner.
Well, just give us a call in the office.
What number?
800-974-2712.
2712. Got it.
Got it?
Okay, thank you so much. Really been a lot of help for me.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
And let's take one more call. Karen.
Hi, Karen.
Hi. Okay, thank you for talking to me. I talked to you people sometime middle of last year, and then someone said there that, okay, my house sounds like a strategic default. And I checked out what strategic default when it was negative, and I thought, okay, here I'm losing my house for this reason, so I didn't. I was ready to walk out my front door back in last year, October, and then came the letter from PNC. Congratulations, we're now refinancing you. And from 6.5 to 4.125. Okay, I had also consulted the local legal aid and all this. And okay, they said great. But I tried a modification on my own before I even knew about you. I was denied last year, January, and the whole process took like a half a year. It was so ridiculous. Then when I asked, how come I'm being turned down? Because, this big Obama money and all this. So I thought, if I couldn't get modified with a limited retirement income and a widow, who does? So I never stopped paying the mortgage. They said, well, I couldn't get modified because I don't make enough money. Well, I said, why do I apply for modification? Of course I don't make enough money. That's why. But so anyway, I'm still in this house. So my regular payment went down from $1,200 to $900, but it cost $8,000 approximately to PNC. And now I'm hearing, that I had to sign a form that said right in the beginning, hurry up and sign this form that you relinquish your right to see the appraisal beforehand. And I thought, that's a scam. Anyway, I did that to hurry this thing up. So my payment went from $1,200 to $900. That's without the taxes, which this year is a little lower, although the price of the house went up again a little, but still $185,900.
Karen.
I'll have to work for 30 years.
Karen, my
until I'm
darling.
103.
What area of town do you live in?
Sarasota County.
You
North
live in
County.
Sarasota County.
nice
Can you
area.
come up and see me in the St. Petersburg office in the next couple of weeks and let me see if there's anything better that we can do for you? Sometimes when the lender says that you have insufficient income to qualify for a loan modification, they really do mean it. Meaning that if your income is now $5,000 a month, then really your 31% of income, which is what you should be spending on your monthly housing expense, that's 31% of your gross income. So if you're making $5,000 a month, then your 31% is about $1,500 a month. Well, if you have a $500,000 mortgage,
Right. It's not going to work at all.
there's no way the lender can take it down to 2%, which is the lowest interest rate they'll give you, extend the loan out to 40 years, and make a mortgage payment that's equal to $1,500. It can't work. So call me at the call and schedule an appointment with me, and I'll try and help you. We've got to go to break, Karen.
The number is 1-800-974-2712. 1-800-974-2712. That's a free consultation at the law offices of Morris DuPont. More of the Home Mortgage Law Show right after this. And you're listening to the Home Mortgage Law Show, brought to you by the law offices of Morris DuPont. Attorneys Will Morris and Shay DuPont here for you. The number's toll free to call the show and talk to the experts one-on-one. 866-610-NEWS. That's 866-610-6397. AT&T Wireless customers, star 610.
I think a hurricane just rolled through this town.
Wow, 2116.
Yay.
Whoa.
Our alma mater. And
That's
I'm a
right.
double grad from the University of Miami.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm twice as happy.
The big you. Love
And
it.
that's where Will and I went to law school.
Yep.
And that's where Will and I met and decided we were going to be friends for life and law partners for, well, till I retire. I'll probably retire before you do.
Any luck? I'd like to see that happen.
Kimberly, welcome to the show.
Hi, Kimberly.
Hi, guys. Quick question. I was looking into doing a modification because my properties are about $100,000 underwater.
Yikes.
Right?
Yeah,
So the primary has a HELOC to it, and those two combined with the property being worth is about $100,000 under. So, but I found that everywhere I go, when I talk about it, they say, yes, you do. You're a great candidate for it. However, when you get to closing, if we can get that second company down, write off whatever, 50,000, 100,000, 90,000, I have to come to closing with that, whether it's 10,000 or whatever is left. So I thought, well, if I don't have that, it sounds like you need money to save money. Like I need to have money in order to get out of that. So I'm just curious, is that very common when we can get that second lien or that second mortgage company to say, you know what, that's fine, the money isn't there. We're going to waive, $50,000, but you have to come to the table with the remaining $50,000. Is that accurate?
Kimberly, you are the person that we started the Home Mortgage Law Show for.
Absolutely.
Over 4 years ago. You're the listener that we're trying to reach because all of this stuff can be very confusing and there's a lot of nomenclature,
Misinformation.
words. There's a lot of new stuff. It's like, I used to be a sailing instructor on Saturdays. I taught at a not-for-profit called Shake a Leg. And people were so intimidated by sailing because they never used the word rope. There's always line. All the words were different. And what's happening with you, Kimberly, is you've got a couple of different ideas mixed together.
All mixed up.
And the whole point of the Home Mortgage Law Show is to help the listeners understand what's out there today that can help them and could possibly result in either a loan modification where they could see their mortgage payment reduced by as much as 60%, and that doesn't cost anything, or they can refinance a Fannie or a Freddie loan and possibly get an interest rate as low as 4.25%, even on a property that has negative equity. So
It was definitely the modification I needed and not the refi.
So
But,
a loan
good.
modification is where your lender agrees to modify the terms of your existing mortgage. And they do that for free. What they're just doing is they're modifying a couple of terms of a contract.
No closing.
We as lawyers do that all the time. You have an original contract, and through the course, the life of that contract, you attach amendments and change it as business changes, and that's what's happening with home mortgages. These lenders want you to not default, and if you're in default, they want you to be back in getting it into a performing loan, so they're willing to do loan modifications. The biggest program out there for loan modifications is called HAMP, the Home Affordable Modification Program. And that's under the Making Home Affordable umbrella of programs brought out by the Department of Treasury in March of 2009. So you've got two mortgages on your property, and If you want to modify them, that requires submitting a loan modification application to the lender. The lender reviews it. If they believe you qualify, they offer you a trial modification. You make 3 trial modification payments. You're successful with that. They believe you're going to qualify. They give you a permanent modification, and they're going to give you an interest rate as low as 2%. They could possibly forgive principal. Some of the principal balance of your mortgage, they could actually forgive it down to the current market value of the property, and they can extend the term out. If you're at year 22 of a 30-year note, they could extend it back out to 30 or out as far as 40 years. The goal of any loan modification is to get your payment, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. You're going to have to escrow the taxes and the insurance to get that payment to 31% of your gross monthly income.
Shay, can I ask you, how does that compare to, as I mentioned, the primary has the HELOC, right? So, and how does that go to the second mortgage holder? I'm sure I'm saying this wrong.
No.
And when they reduce if they say, okay, well, the money's not there, so we're going to waive whatever, $50,000, $60,000, and you don't have to pay that. But is that a modification? Or no?
That is a modification. That is a modification that results in principal forgiveness. So remember, there's 3 terms that the lender can modify: the interest rate, the term, and the principal balance. And I have done many, many loan modifications on second mortgages that have resulted in a complete waiver of the entire principal balance, meaning I've gotten the second mortgages completely forgiven, wiped out, they're done, gone, zero. I've gotten $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 second mortgages completely forgiven.
So the question is, in those cases, if that mortgager says, okay, we're only going to reduce 90%, basically $10,000 is left. So would I have to go to closing with that $10,000?
Nope, there's no closing.
There is no closing.
You're just going to now have a new mortgage statement that instead of saying 10,000, or what was your number? 10,000, did you say?
She said,
right.
yeah, 10,000.
Well,
10,000.
Right.
Then that's what it will say is your new principal balance. And you're going to make a mortgage payment based on whatever the interest rate is on that loan of $10,000. So let's look at some numbers for a minute. Real quickly, Kimberly, what's the balance on your first mortgage?
The first mortgage is $120,000.
And the second mortgage?
$100,000.
And the current market value of the property?
Well, if we try to sell it, it's $90,000, but I saw from Fannie Mae on a thing that they had it at $152,000.
Okay,
it's
but
not
you believe,
accurate, though,
but
I can tell you.
Okay, so that's why you want a professional to do your loan modification application, because I go back to Fannie with an appraisal and say, you guys have the numbers wrong. It's worth $90,000, at most $120,000. Therefore, the second mortgage is completely unsecured, and the second mortgage should be then forgiven completely. Let's use the $150,000. Let's say that it is worth $150,000. That means that the second mortgage is secured only up to $30,000. How did I come up with that? Right? You got it, right? $120,000 on the first mortgage. The value of the property is worth $150,000. $150,000 minus $120,000, $30,000. So that second mortgage that has a principal balance of $100,000, at the very least, our goal should be to get that reduced to $30,000, meaning getting a principal forgiveness of $70,000.
Right. And this is something that your office does, correct?
Every
single day.
Can you imagine how wonderful that is, that I get to do this every day for people?
I know you guys you're only one and you don't have clones, but when I call the office, is it possible to speak with you, or will it be someone else that I speak with?
No, you just have to request to speak to me. What area of town do you live in?
Miami. I'm in Miami.
Yeah, come over.
Which is no problem. I'll go wherever I need to go.
No, come over and meet me at the Doral office.
Okay.
Come and have a consultation, and we'll sit down. Bring your mortgage statements. Bring however you can show me what your income is, so we can calculate that. And I will sit there with you, and we will get these numbers done. We've got to go to break. But Kimberly, give me a call and come meet with me.
And the number,
Keep up
Kim?
the good work. I have
Thank
it. Keep
you.
up the good work, guys.
Thank you. It's 1-800-974-2712. 1-800-974-2712. That's the toll-free number for a free consultation at the law offices of Morris DuPont. If you've got a call or a question after the break, our home stretch, 1-800-974-2712. More of the Home Mortgage Law Show after this. And we are in the home stretch of the Home Mortgage Law Show, brought to you by the law offices of Morris DuPont. Attorneys Will Morris and Shay DuPont. We've got less than maybe 10 minutes to go here on the show. So if you've got a question or concern, now's the time to pick up the phone and ask the experts. 866-610-NEWS. That's 866-610-6397. AT&T Wireless customers, star 610.
And we're back, aren't we, Shay? We're in the
Yes,
home
we are.
stretch, as Natalie likes to say.
And of course, Florida is number one again this year.
And
Oh,
foreclosures.
whoops,
Yeah,
it's foreclosures.
It's foreclosures. We
Yep.
like being number one. You know, it's, everything that goes on in the country always has some sort of Florida connection, and it's not surprising.
It does seem that way,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
Yeah.
9 of the nation's 10 highest metropolitan foreclosure rates were Florida cities.
And to me, that's a little bit surprising because I thought, we talked a lot a few months ago about the new law that was being passed by the Florida legislator, H.R. 87.
HB 87.
HB 87, I'm sorry.
House Bill 87
Right, and that
got
was
passed
supposed to
in June.
speed up the foreclosure process and allow the banks to get,
Oh, yes, my
title to
foreclosure
properties.
guru who's
Yeah.
in court every day. Tell me, how are you seeing any ripple effect from HB 87 being signed back in June?
Yes, I am, but not the effect I thought we were going to see. I thought we were going to see where banks were able to come in quickly under this show cause order, where the bank could go in and have the court issue a show cause order to a borrower to show for the borrower to explain to the court why they shouldn't be part of a foreclosure lawsuit. Turns out, rather than speeding up the process and rather than putting the onus more on the homeowners, it seems to have slowed it down a little bit, which is sort of ironic that we're still number one in the foreclosure race. But the law also put a lot of more requirements on banks before they can actually file a foreclosure lawsuit. They have to, in the past, they simply had to file an affidavit saying that they've reviewed the documents. Well, the new law put even further requirements. Like, for example, they had to show that they had the actual original note and mortgage. They had to make affidavits saying this stuff, and they had to show affidavits saying how they came into possession of the actual note and mortgage.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. So it turns out,
I like that.
turns out that the banks are not very fond of these new stringent requirements.
Great.
And it has sort of slowed down the amount of foreclosure that is being filed. So again, I'm a little surprised to see we're still number one because this new law, the HB 87, had totally the opposite effect. Rather than speeding it up, it has actually slowed down the amount of foreclosure cases that are being filed in the Florida courts.
Now, Will, when I do a client consultation, and people ask, well, I've just gotten served with a foreclosure action. How long before I've got to leave the house? I always say, we can defend a foreclosure action from the point that you have been served for a minimum of 18 months.
Right.
Now, I know we like to be conservative. Under promise, over deliver.
Right.
Is that 18 months still accurate?
Well, I was concerned when HB 87 was passed that 18 months would be dwindled down a lot more. But I have yet to see a bank get a show cause order. I've yet to see a bank speed the process up. So I think that 18 months still stands. I think we're still, as a matter of fact, the 18 months is still, to me, very conservative.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I don't,
Yeah.
but understand that, folks. If you have missed a couple of mortgage payments, if you have been served with a foreclosure action, it's not like the sheriff is coming next week and going to kick you out of the house.
Right.
You have the right to defend a foreclosure action. You have the right to have certain affirmative defenses raised. What are they? Well, you're not a lawyer. Let a lawyer raise these
Right.
issues for you because they are legal arguments that you have the right to raise as a defense to a foreclosure action.
And the danger in that is, if you don't raise some of these arguments, guess what? They are waived. So, what burns me more often than not is when people, in response to the foreclosure action, write a letter to the court and saying, Judge, I'm trying to work it out. I've lost my job. Well, look, it's a terrible thing. I understand that. But the truth is, a letter such as that has zero legal effect. As a matter of fact, it has a negative legal effect because it causes you potentially to waive a lot of defenses you might otherwise have to the foreclosure lawsuit.
That's a very important issue, I think, that these letters could be construed as a response to the complaint.
Absolutely.
And what shouldn't be, and that's not what should be filed. A response to the complaint is not a letter. It has to be, at the very least, a motion to dismiss where the issues and the affirmative defenses are raised. Very important.
Some document of legal significance. Quite frankly, if you write a letter to the judge never sees it.
Yeah.
He never, ever sees it. And while your story might be the worst story on the planet, he never sees it, and he doesn't have the authority to have his emotions get involved in your response to the lawsuit. He has to look at what the law is, and if the bank is filing a legal document in the complaint, you have to respond equally with a legal document.
If you are looking for foreclosure defense, if you are considering a short sale, a loan modification, bankruptcy, Chapter 13, Chapter 7, if you would like to settle out some of your credit card debt or restore your credit score, why aren't you calling the law firm of Morris DuPont and doing it now? Remember, we have people that are standing by that can take your call and schedule you for an appointment in any of our offices. I'm happy to meet with you at St. Petersburg, Tampa, Dadeland, Doral, Aventura, Fort Lauderdale, Plantation, Boca Raton, and West Palm Beach. Basically, if you can hear our voices, there is an office nearby, and you should schedule your consultation. Don't put it off any longer. If you're driving, well, congratulations to those fans that are driving away from the stadium. Congratulations. I'm a double grad. What you need to be doing is remember the law firm's website, homemortgagelaw.com. Check out homemortgagelaw.com. You can then, through the website, get the phone number, or you can schedule your appointment that way. The phone number for the law firm to schedule your free consultation is 800-974-2712. If you have any issues with your mortgage lender, you should be contacting the law firm of Morris DuPont. I'm Shay DuPont. I'm here with my partner, Will Morris. Quick on the phones as we wind out another show.
Another great show.
Hi, Robert.
Hello?
Hi,
Yes,
Robert.
Robert.
What can we do for you? Last call of the day.
A $112,000 mortgage as of March '07, and now the tax value is $43,000. We're wondering how to modify it. 7%.
Okay. It's 7%.
Ooh.
Lordy. The first thing you're going to want to know is if this loan is a Fannie or a Freddie. Do you know the answer to that right now?
It's a Freddie.
Okay, it's a Freddie. Therefore, because it's a Freddie Mac loan, it cannot, in today, qualify for a principal reduction. So if this was my property, I'd want to be short selling it, and I'd want to be short selling it later rather than sooner, because I'd want to pull some equity out by staying in that property. So what I'd probably do is I'd do a strategic short sale of that property, because I know that it doesn't matter how long I make my mortgage payments, I'll probably never get back to getting equity in that property.
Thank you.
Have you thought of that?
I had. My wife was listening to your show. We're driving. She called because she said you knew better than I did, and this is exactly what I told her. But I keep hearing it over and over that I'm wrong.
I don't think you're wrong.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. I mean, you've got a massive amount of negative equity there. Look, we can get the interest rate down. We can probably get it down to about 4.25. If you go to a mortgage calculator online, you could just use the keywords use mortgagecalculator.org, and you put in 43,000, or excuse me, you can't get a principal reduction. So 112,000 at 4.25% and extend it out to 40 years. What is that principal and interest payment going to be? Now fold into that number. Add to that number the cost of the taxes and insurance every month. I don't think you have a homeowners association fee there, do you?
$68.
68. So add that in. So those 5 factors, PITIH, principal, interest, taxes, insurance, homeowners association fee, that's your monthly housing expense. So what is the best case scenario that you could get? Well, you'll be able to figure that out using the mortgage calculator, then folding in the taxes, insurance, and HOA fee. Now tell me, is that more or less than the rent value of that property? If it's a lot less, maybe it makes sense to live
Sure.
there, even though you've got a lot of negative equity, because you have to live somewhere.
Absolutely. And you've got to pay to live somewhere.
Right. But if it's more than the rent value, then I strongly urge you to short sale that property, cut your losses, get out of there. The FHA just announced last week that they were reducing the time frame that was required for someone who does a short sale. They can go back into the market and only have to wait 1 year before they can qualify
Used
for a
to be
new
7,
mortgage.
right?
Used to be.
That's the thing. That's the thing that's driving my wife is that she says if we short sell, we'll never, because we're both 52. She said we'll never be able to buy a house before they fix the equity, and she says she doesn't want to live in rentals the rest of their lives.
All right, let's buy the new house now and then short sale the old house. We've got to go. We're out of time.
Give us a
Call
call
the
to the
office
office.
and
Yeah.
bring your wife with you.
1-800-974-2712. That's the number to pick up the phone and dial. 1-800-974-2712. That's your free consultation at the law offices of Morris DuPont. The Home Mortgage Law Show. We'll see you next Saturday.